Welcome to GEEKVIEW TAVERN, where smart folks engage in loose talk about the geeky movies, TV shows, and comics you love. Remember to like the video, share it with friends, and please subscribe. In this episode, we open another bottle of wine for X-Men animated artists Larry Houston and Rick Hoberg as we chat about what made the show so important to its fans. Okay, Skeeter, hit the intro. Welcome to GEEKVIEW TAVERN. Welcome back. For those of you who've been here before, that's my friend Tom. Wave, Tom. He's down at the end of the park. Also joining us is Rick Hoberg, animation and comic book dude. My daughter Maggie, Wave Maggie, and Larry Houston, the director of the X-Men Animated. I want to give you a flashback here. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Look at
somebody
that.
else drawing our stuff.
Look at that.
That's great.
So does that provide any impetus for stories or unnecessary like flashbacks of drunken evenings doing bad stuff?
Man, that's a little bit of everything there.
Yeah,
Those
no
are
kidding.
how thing grabs.
I can't believe Deadpool's in here. Does he belong in there, Larry? I don't think so.
But he was never on the show, was he, Larry?
Yeah,
Did he
I threw him in as
appear?
cameo.
Oh,
was
he
a cameo.
did a cameo.
Yeah, but he wasn't the Deadpool of the movies Deadpool. He was the Deadpool of the comics at the time Deadpool.
He was
Correct.
the transition between the first Ryan Reynolds Deadpool and the Death Wolverine movie.
Yeah, we had a character called Morph, and he could change into different characters. And when he was attacking Wolverine, he shifted into this character once in a while.
Oh, that's
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
great.
What a great way to get him in. That's awesome. Hey, Larry, were you involved in any of the voice casting?
Part of the group. I mean, it's a group of like 5 or 6 executives, and your voice is like one of many, but it's Margaret and Joe Calamari and the rest of those. It's a whole bunch of execs all making the decision at the same time.
Hey, Maggie, what do you does any of this bring back any fond memories that you want to ask the guys about?
I mean, very much so. I mean, I did want to share this when you brought up Morph. I'm still not over his death.
Oh,
I think about it, I'm like, they just killed him? He died? And but he's gonna come back, right? They're like, no, Morph's dead.
Nope.
Like,
no.
pull back.
At the time, what we wanted to establish was that the X-Men was not going to be Scooby-Doo. It was not going to be Super Friends. We're trying to do something different.
There's real danger. There's real stakes. People get missed and lost in this.
Now, Larry, who was he based on? That was an early X-Men character that he was.
He was based on a character. Let's see if I can. Changeling.
The Mimic, right? Mimic?
No,
No.
Mimic
Was somebody else?
It was a one-issue character they created called Changeling, and it was a character they created to bring Xavier back because they said they killed off Xavier like 5 issues before, and they wanted to bring Xavier back. So for one issue, they created this character called Changeling, and they gave Neil Adams gave him a different look because he had a different look earlier, Factor 5 or Factor something way back when.
That was during that Savage Land episode and near the end of the first run of X-Men books, wasn't it?
It might have been, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he was one of Magneto's guys or something that infiltrated.
Boy, you're testing my memory.
That's why I like.
Ask Maggie. Oh wait, we're talking about the books, not the animated. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's agree to this and then wait for the comments to come in later.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we'll say stuff, and then the guys in the comments will roast us, so that'll work out fine.
Maggie, you should in the books, comic books, they had created a character called Thunderbird, and he gets killed.
Yes.
And we were trying to mimic that storyline, but then we realized that we're going to create the first Native American superhero and kill him off in one issue,
Which
story.
is not cool.
Right? Yeah,
That's
not cool.
a bad idea.
I'm not over Thunderbird. Just saying. Can you tell we're related?
That's when the X-Men were reborn in X-Men, giant-sized X-Men #1,
Yep.
Right.
That
We got
story,
Thorn, we got
Next
Wolverine,
Genesis
we
or
got-
Second Genesis.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we had to go back. What we did was we needed to kill off a different character. So that's where we went back and found Changeling, because he died in one issue.
Yeah.
Right.
And so we
Right.
changed it to look like Changeling, but then we couldn't use the name Changeling because it was a Teen Titans character.
Right.
Right.
And even though Marvel did it first,
Right.
Marvel's lawyer said, find another name. And that's where Morph
This
came
is also
from.
one of my favorite things ever because I, of course, as a child, very scarred by Morse Death. And when they came out with the Exiles books that had like Blink as like the main character, and it had a lot, and like most of the I think 3 of the characters were like one-off Death characters that then got to have like a whole new life, and they had another version of Morph, and I couldn't. That's
Oh,
Morph!
yes.
And I just like I could like the excitement in my body. I can't. Like it was one of those things. It's just, you get, I think, so used to, like when you're a kid too, you're watching your cartoons, you're watching your superheroes, like you're used to watching your heroes win the day. And to have them have this experience where it didn't go the way that they thought it would. So important, right? Like to teach kids too of like, yeah, it's not gonna work out all the time. And like also too, our characters are doing like really dangerous things. The stakes are high.
Oh yeah, the hero's journey has to have tragedy in it. And that's a big thing with Joseph Campbell is that, your life is changed when you accept the hero's journey, and there's always tragedy accompanying it. Hercules, his wife, he kills his whole family under Zeus's influence, and all sorts of things like that heroes go through to get where they're going to be.
That image though that you showed, as I pour myself some more.
We could do that again. That's not.
My wife's favorite Prosecco.
That the image that you showed, the first place my eyes went was to Rogue. She
Really? All right.
was my girl. Like still is. Like this version of Rogue is everything to me. Nothing pisses me off more than as we move forward with different versions of Rogue showing up in the movies, showing up in animated, showing up in all these different places where she's just like, I'm just sad because I can't touch anybody. I was like, girl, you touch Carol Danvers and you can punch a wall and fly. Absolutely not. No. She should be able to like break a building. Like that's like that. I was like, I'm a kid where, I'm so grateful now. Like there's so many really, really great like female characters, female superheroes that can like be this for girls. Like the fact that Rey exists in Star Wars like makes my inner child weep. But like Rogue was the thing that I think I really needed as a kid growing up. Of like being this like strong woman, like no cares, like Southern Belle being herself. Like she was all the things.
Yeah.
Oh,
She could have been there could have been so much more done with her in the movies. And I'm so
much.
glad Marvel's got those characters back, because we may actually get to see a real X-Men movie sooner or later.
Listen,
Yeah, well,
Yes.
we were really lucky as fans to have Larry and Will, and to a lesser degree Rick, because Rick.
I was drunk all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
No,
That's what we want to hear, Rick.
Yeah, I got sidetracked. I'm sorry, but we were really lucky because Larry worked really hard, and I expect him to tell me a story or two about getting other Marvel characters leveraged into X-Men animated one way or the other. Like how we got Deadpool in is really a great story I've never heard before. But the fact that you got all this big pile of characters is partly a testament to Larry, because he just kept making sure that the Marvel fans got to see what they wanted to see.
Well, Larry was taking payoffs from Rob Liefeld. He was trying to see their characters.
A little bit on the side. Yeah.
That's right. Hey, Rob.
I think Larry even got to retire.
That's why he was able to retire.
That's right.
Yeah,
Back the money truck up.
Well, the good thing is Rob has the money to blow, apparently, and he's not above that kind of thing. So that's the important
He's having
thing.
a good time, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So did you run into any headwind on that, Larry, or were you just sneaking things in and hoping nobody noticed? How did that work exactly?
Well, it started off like when I was in the 60s, I used to read Spider-Man comic books, and then once in a while because the distribution of Marvel was being controlled by national periodic publications, Stan would try and cross-promote the books. And so you read Spider-Man, and maybe Thor would be going through in one panel, and he'd have something at the bottom that says, if you want to see where Thor is going, by issue Journey to Mystery or something like that at the bottom. And he helped create a connected universe. So when we were doing the X-Men, I wanted to try and replicate that feeling I had as a kid. And I tried to put Spider-Man like somewhere off in the corner where you wouldn't notice him. But the fans would.
I want to reference something. Larry mentioned national periodical publications. Many people may not know that was DC Comics.
Right.
Yep.
That's DC controlled Marvel's distribution. Isn't that nice? Yeah. Right.
I tried to put Spider-Man in, and Saban or somebody said no, I couldn't do it, and they never told me why. So I just I blew it off. There was another episode called Slave Island where the writers wrote all the X-Men are enslaved on Genosha Island, but the writers didn't know Marvel characters, so they wrote Mutant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, you got to pick which 5? Oh, that's great.
So I brought the comic books into work because there's no internet back then.
Right.
And then I told, Rick already knew most of the characters, but I said, let's make this character Blob, Mystique, make this one Sunfire, stuff like that. But I kept the original names, Mutant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I put it into the system. I didn't hear anything. Okay, I know how to do this now.
Didn't some of it have to do with them not having speaking roles too?
Yeah, so it's long. And when we sent your drawings in, they were not any color. They're all black and white. So we just send the black and white in, and it's called Mutant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they didn't care anything about it. So it just went through and got through. And that's how I learned how to sneak in all the characters. I never called them by their original names.
Nice. I'm going to write this down.
There you go.
And so that's how a lot of the cameos got into the show, was just, calling them something else.
Sure. Yeah. What about you, Rick? Look, Larry hasn't had that many published comics. You've got a long history of putting up with the nonsense of comic book publishers, including me. So
well, I wouldn't have made a living and had so much fun if it hadn't been for guys like you. That was I love doing comics. It's just a grueling way to make a living.
Sure. We did have fun though.
Right after Strangers was cut off, I said, nope, I think I've had enough of that for a while. I took a break, and then the break turned into the rest of my career in animation. But when I'm at the conventions and talking to fans, there's a fan group for everything, and it's kind of what is popular at the time. Star Wars is real big because a lot of people know my connection there, and so I get a lot of my sketches are Star Wars related, especially Boba Fett is big, Darth Vader is big.
Sure.
Those characters.
Boba Fett's gonna get even bigger.
So Tommy, do you have any specific questions you'd like to ask the guys? Do you have something written down there in your notes? And
so if we go back to you don't have to put it up again, but if we go back to the giant group shot of all the X-Men characters.
What else am I doing? What else have I got to do over
That's
here?
right. Do,
really,
do that
frankly, what else am I doing?
Go ahead, Maggie's dad. Do that for us. And so, I look at this, and the first thing that pops out is, so this is like some kid's Star Wars.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
So you look at this and you see this is just as intricate and complex and fun and wonderful and imaginative as Star Wars was in 1977. So, if you're at the right age for when this came out, this is your thing right there.
I think it also has the advantage of a lot of artistic people contributed to the looks, and they're not all from one person. One person, when they come in and work on a book or something, draws it the way they do. But for instance, Magneto is a different design from Iceman, and you know what I'm getting at.
Right.
There's a lot of variety in this.
Yeah.
And the idea that you guys were killing off a character, that doesn't really happen much in regular adult television in prime time at the time. And to do it in kids' cartoons and have it be real. Like the character doesn't just suddenly come back next week and say, ha ha ha, look, it was all magic, or it was all a trick, or it's all a dream, or whatever. That doesn't happen in kids' cartoons.
Yeah, no, we were lucky with the broadcasting standards person. Eric and Will and I were able to talk him into, like, we wanted to set the show to make it different. And we had told her we were going to try and, Morph was going to die. We'll bring him back at the end of the series, which we were lying, but we were.
Of course.
Boy, if anybody to lie,
See,
this guy.
This is why the tavern exists. So Larry can look right into the camera and go, "Yep, I lied about that. I absolutely lied."
Yeah, we wanted to make it different. So Avery Colburn, that's her name. And the lucky thing we had was that she came from live action. She didn't grow up in the cartoon world.
Right.
And so she had live action sensibilities. And so we were able to talk her into, killing the character off, and then having a character actually be pissed off and punch, like Cyclops in the stomach out of anger.
Right.
And we were able to rationalize that that's the way he deals with his loss.
Sure.
Was that he's aggressive to other people. And so we were able to we talked to her, he'll only do it once, but we needed it to happen at the beginning.
Yeah.
So when people saw the series, they could tell this is not Super Friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that's how we got it.
And that's the thing too, because even today, if you tried to do that, somebody would say, no, you're killing our toy. And so you can't, I don't think you would get to kill Morph 30 years on like you did 30 years prior. So it's really, it's quite a feat.
Or you put your job at risk, right?
The thing is about Morph is that you got to remember when Rick and I all did the show, it was only 13 episodes. We had no guarantee of a season 2.
Right.
I just poured my heart and soul into that first season, knowing wasn't going to get a second bite. So I just poured everything I could into it. We had our resumes. We were getting ready to find work on some other show when they told us at the last minute, don't go anywhere. You got a season 2, change the ending, which was Gene and Scott proposing and getting engaged. And guess what? The most popular character was, from all the kids writing in, was Morph. They said, you got to bring Morph back.
Did you lie again?
Of course.
Well, we had written the last episode, there was no Morph in it at all. And so we had to bring him back with PTSD. We had to come up with some other method to bring him back.
I think everybody was kind of shocked that when the show started, we started beating Batman the Animated Series in the ratings every week. And they went, oh, that's good. We like this, That's what keeps you alive in television.
Yeah. So what's the emotional arc for you guys when the season's over, you're getting ready to pack it in and move on to another job that may or may not be as good, and then all of a sudden you get the call and says, oh, by the way, guys, we're going to reassemble the Avengers and make another season.
The circus is still in town.
Right.
Well, that's gravy. That's always gravy. It's, you're in our business, you're always knowing that you're going to have to find something else down the way. I always planned for 2 or 3 gigs a year.
Because when the show's only has like 13 episodes, you're planning on, okay, by the end of the year, I'm going to have to find more work because our business was seasonal. And so once you're done, you move on,
Right.
All right, Maggie, this is your big chance. You got Larry here, you got Rick here. You love the X-Men animated. What do you want to ask them? What do you want to know?
I think really the biggest curiosity I have, because truthfully, I think that the series as it is beautiful and perfect in every way possible. I wouldn't change it for anything. Simply
Aww.
There you go, Larry.
That's nice.
Things, right? But I'm sort of curious of what would you envision for the series if you were to make it now? The 90s was such a very particular time to exist. What would it look like if you did it now? Did you ever think about that? Do you have any thoughts on it?
There were some.
All I know is don't do to it what they did to Thundercats,
No. See, you know what?
I don't want. I hate that style. I know other animators are going to dislike me for that. I hate that style.
Wouldn't do I would agree with Rick. I would not do that. But I would for me, I think we would probably do some storylines based upon what we were trying to do storylines we never got around to. The stories we never got a chance to do was one where Cyclops and Alex Havoc discovered that they're brothers. We never got a chance to get to that storyline.
Oh, that would have been cool.
And that's not a real story. That's kind of a moment, but that's one of the moments like that we never got around to doing.
You can mine a lot of stories, but it would be nice to approach all this with some of the technical stuff that we can do now. Because man, there's just so many ways you can plus TV animation these days. Like you never really have to draw props because they give you everything as 3D. You can do whatever you want. They'll turn perfectly, they'll animate perfectly, and then they just run a program that puts a line around them and stuff. It's just amazing what you can do, and I'd love to see some of this stuff done like that.
Yeah, the upcoming What If that Disney announced for Marvel.
That looks awesome.
I don't know if the stories are going to be any good because I'm not a big fan of the stories, but the animation looks astonishing. I mean, really, really, really good.
Yeah, it looks really
That's great. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I wish we would have had that kind of a budget. You know.
Yeah, sure.
Well, speaking as the resident tavern idiot, I think
have another drink, Tom.
Because what I would like to see is not so much the current X-Men as they are in the comics animated in a new X-Men show. I would rather see a new version of that classic era of 90s X-Men just done with the technological skill that exists now.
Yes.
And the budget.
Great idea.
Now.
Yes.
I think the characters still resonate and the work still resonates. And so if you can just explore that better through the new technologies, but with the same sensibility, I think you get a great show.
Yeah.
An X-Men animated, like an X-Men Year One animated, right?
Right.
Yeah, that would be really fun. Well, that's part 2 of Rick and Larry's visit to the GeekView Tavern. Next time we talk Mandalorian. Here's some stuff you can find in the comment section. Order yourself a cocktail, tip your waitress, and check out other GeekView Tavern videos.
Thanks for visiting GeekView Tavern. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and click the bell to get notified. Come back soon.